Hi everyone. I'm here with my awesome soul crew, and we were just chit-chatting. I was late, so I just kind of jumped in, but we have a really great tarot question to pull for everyone. Welcome to our channel, and if you like this video, please like and subscribe, click the bell button, and yeah, so when I jumped on, they were talking about, first of all, Trump and Roseanne, or not Roseanne Barr, Trump and Rosie O'Donnell, and how and how Trump said in his first term, I think, I'm going to revoke your citizenship because she and him were squabbling and whatnot, and she was moving away. And then the conversation went to Chris Barber and Tamara Leach. And so what we were wondering was, why is it that people have such a hard time standing up and saying enough is enough, knowing that there is stuff happening for the infringement of our freedoms, but people are just kind of turning a blind eye, being an ostrich in the sand. This also really aligns to the full moon in Aries and the three eye atlas that we've done videos on. So if you want to check out those videos, but what it is the full moon in Aries is showering us with all these energies of the masculine, the drive, the passion, the war, the conflict. And the three eye atlas just went past Mars. And this is just my perspective.
Like
In
it-
this group, we have different perspectives. So it's also showering us with a lot of fire energy. So our question today would be around what is preventing people from standing up and using their voice and saying enough is enough, is my understanding. Does anybody else have anything to say around this topic?
yeah, I, I guess it's more what causes people because I'm not sure I agree with the word prevent, I guess is where I'm coming from for my read. I'll probably read it a little bit differently because what causes people to choose not to is really, or to not extrapolate it to themselves, that they're losing these things that the system is bringing forward, and liberties that are being lost for people who they may or may not agree with what they did, but the the precedent gets set. That's my concern, is that the precedent gets set and then it can be executed further from there. And so what stops people from appreciating the impact on their own lives of that kind of forfeiture of freedom and that kind of control through a governmental system? That's what I'm curious about. Does that make sense? I know that's long-winded. If you guys can help me
No,
shorten that question, that would be great.
no,
But
no,
that's my
that,
real concern.
yeah, no, that was beautiful. That was really good. I did do a tarot pull,
Yeah.
and I was just trying to intuitively feel what the cards are trying to talk to me. It does seem like, that we're just basically, it looks like these two are always opposing each other to some degree.
Mm.
And I just feel like they're like, we're not really in balance is what I'm picking up. And really what I got for the root was, I believe that this is the 8 here, and I think it's a lot of us are just scared maybe from like lifetimes of having fear energies embodied into our cellular makeup. And so there's memory there of having, in other lifetimes being persecuted, having, all manners of, I mean, there was the Salem witch trials. There's been lots of religious wars. There's been all kinds of wars going on. And right now, a lot of it's being highlighted right now, you could say, by our off-worlder friends, is highlighting a lot of the dysfunctionality that's going on. And I think we're going to need to come into some form of balance, is what I'm getting, is in order to really be able to stand in one's power, it will have to be a balancing act has to happen. So it has to be a permission slip. But from my experience, and this isn't really necessarily saying in the cards, is that people really start noticing when their bank accounts start getting affected. That's when really people start noticing. And I think that's what's inevitably here is taking place, because we have talked about the digital ID, and we do see that that's something that is going to be taking place at some point. I think that's where a lot of the emotionality is going to come in, is when people can no longer hang on to what they thought was theirs is going to be somewhat restricted or taken away, kind of like during COVID. So I think there will be a series of events that's going to bring people together. Remember, it's not a negative necessarily. It's just that we're out of tune. We're out of tune with the earth. We're out of tune with each other. We need to develop what we were talking about this morning, right, Pam, Marcia, Larry? Rapport with each other.
Yep.
Yeah, rapport with ourselves first and foremost, and then rapport with everyone who else is versions of ourselves. And when we can start looking at it from that way, the veils will start to really thin out for us. And yeah, so hope that
Yeah,
wasn't
that's kind of-
more long-winded than yours, Pam.
Thank you, Derek.
Yeah.
I appreciate the rapport. Did you pull the lover card? Was that lover with the
I did.
angel, or was that
I did. That was the advice. Was the Lover's card, and in the middle, the outcome is the two of Pentacles, and there was the eight of Pentacles as well, was across from the Lovers, if I'm not mistaken. Yes.
right? Yeah,
So-
because I see the lovers card as exactly what you're saying, like rapport with others and also rapport with ourselves. That's really, in my opinion, a really strong self-esteem card, rebalancing card, harmony card, which is not just us with others, which is often what we kind of consider balancing to be, but it's also balancing this way as well as this way. So that's right in the read. That was great. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, you're very, very welcome. Yeah, I think that's going to be more of a obvious indication that we're starting to advance ourselves. Is that well, we're just going to start to see more of these events bringing people together. So it's it has to happen. It needs to happen. It's going to be catalyzing for humanity in the next while. But I don't know about. I think it's going to be probably be a few years before we really can. Because it's going to take some effort. This isn't going to be a cakewalk. I think this is going to take some serious effort on each other's part to make these connections happen, because it's just that time. We're at the ninth year. Sorry, the ninth numerology year, and then we're moving into the beginning. And next year is probably going to be really entertaining. I think we're going to see hopefully we're going to see a lot of people standing up next year. This lovely super moon that we have going on right now with the Mars energy is really energizing that. I don't want to talk too much here, but I'll say one more thing about there has been some efforts here to keep us distracted through social medias and AI and everything else. And a lot of those things are fun and they're good. But again, what we really need to do is come back into balance and come back to being more whole within ourselves. And really the only way to do that is to connect first with yourself and the earth, because the earth is your ground, and without your ground, you're going to get fried. So we need to really stop using so much technology to keep pacifying ourselves. It's actually very dangerous, and it's going to keep anxiety and keep us in stress. In fact, I'm going to warn you guys of this. There's AI being generated right now that's going to, it plays on your emotions. And so I was watching one today where they were talking about this lovely woman, and it had the music in the background, and she's rescues foxes, and she's doing all these wonderful, wonderful things. And then as they got you all captivated in this feel-good story, they shift to, but her neighbors ratted her out. And so then that's how the AI is actually being generated to cause friction and to get you upset at something that probably never even happened. But that's how they play on your emotions. So be really, really aware where your energy is, what you're paying attention to. You know, there's so much there that wants to keep us fighting amongst each other, portraying that's them out there, when really it's just a shadow version of ourselves. Anything out there that comes your way that's out of balance, either laugh it off or show some love to it, because there's such a I don't know what the right word is here. Maybe you guys can help me. There's an underlying that's being diminished, and it's fighting for its life. The darkness is fighting literally for its life. And so it'll do anything to keep their party going. Yeah.
My camera froze on the underlying, but desperation. Is that what you were saying? There's like an underlying desperation.
Beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great word of saying that they are absolutely desperate, and they need bodies. They need bodies to occupy. So the more that you can keep your vibration high, keep beauty around you all the time. You know, call in your angels, call in your guides, call in the mother. You know, just keep everything around you in as best harmonic balance as you can. And they'll have a tough time grabbing hold of your, influencing your thoughts and your emotions.
Yeah. I would like to add to that it isn't a matter of just stepping over your emotions. So the emotions that we have are fine. They're useful, they're real, it's really true. The quicker we can return to center, the quicker we can diffuse any fears that we have, any, anger that's not useful to us, because I don't consider either of those not to be useful emotions. They're indicators, they're GPS systems in many ways. But what happens is we can start to spiral into them, and then we're no longer choice with them. Now we're an effect of them, and that's what we really want to avoid. And so the quicker we can do that, it's not about never feel them. The moment that you kind of realize it, and if you can shift yourself from that spot, get some value from that spot, that's really where we start to take ground, right? Because so many people are numbed out to all of their emotions, and I think that's part of it too. It's very overwhelming. The whole system is so overwhelming. So I think you're really right. I think they are very desperate, and that those energetics that we release, especially if we hold on to them, it gives them more control, and it feeds whatever energetics or vibrations that their frequencies that they're looking for, that help to give them power, that they're the power that they're desperate for. So yeah, that's great. Very thank you.
They need their loosh, right?
They need their loosh. That's right.
Yeah, so now that's great what you just said, Pam. It's really powerful. So there is some solutions, and there's breath work, and there's some exercises that can be implemented. Marcia has a website started here, and we're trying to put together, scratch that word, trying. We are putting together a system, cancel that, And we're trying to there we go again, cancel that one. We're putting together a system to help people as best as we can with the tools that we have. And so we are implementing exercises online, and then we can go on to these Zoom calls, and then we can help people process through what they're going through and support them from our own experiences in life. Everybody has their own experiences, their own situations that they're able to share with each other that helps each other's growth. We're never going to agree with each other fully, but we can learn to appreciate each other and love each other, because they're all versions of ourselves. So anything you're not liking about someone else, it's something that we usually don't like within ourselves. So we don't pretend to be perfect, but we do want to be of assistance and service. So if you guys need help, please do. You can contact Marcia. Maybe can help bring some light on how the best way it is to get a hold of us. Marcia, do you want to maybe chime in here now?
So the website is being built right now. It's going to take a couple months to get it online. Currently, we're changing our name, so we came up with a name for the new website, and then we're changing the name for this YouTube channel. And then I deleted the other Facebook, and then we're creating another Facebook. So just hang tight with us right now. Currently, we don't have a way for anyone to contact us, but that will be up and running within the next week tops. The new name for this channel will be the Source Energy Collective. And the YouTube channel, the website, everything will be having the same name. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. And what Jerry had said is it's just a bunch of us that have walked together and have picked up through our lives some tools that have greatly helped us. And we just wanted to share it with everybody else. So what it is a landing page with all of us on it. And then you can pick whoever you want to talk to in more depth. And their contact information or their particular website will be on that landing page. And then you will get brought to them. We are not linked. Once you connect with one of us, you will be linked to them, and it has nothing to do with the collective. So that would be everybody's choice, is who you want to talk to, who you feel connected with through these videos. So yeah, it's super exciting, and it's part of the new, or the full moon in Aries and the 3i Atlas with the Mars. It's that passion, that drive, right? You can take all this, for the last couple days, I've been feeling so much energy coming in. I haven't been sleeping 3 days now. There's like I've said before, really susceptible and sensitive to energies. So I just have so much energy within me coming down on me. I feel it in every part of my body, my mind and soul. But one thing that is helpful is to use all that energy, ground it somewhat, but use it and also use it for creation, right? So that has been the last couple weeks, maybe week, between all of us. We've been creating this website, and it's super exciting. Pam, did you have a pull? Are you pulling tarot today?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
did pull on the concept, and similar to Jerry, what I see strongly, I have 2 pentacles, earth signs, both court cards, which is a well-developed aspect of its suit. So from the question of what's stopping people from sort of realizing something greater is robbing them of their entitled liberties, which is really how I see them. And I pulled swords, which is the Ace of Swords, which is really indicative of the potential of the suit of swords, which is thinking. It's very left brain. It's very linear. It's very logical. It's language, and generally excludes intuition for the most part. The value of swords is that they cut nonsense away. So that's really how we use a blade, even. We, we sharpen it, we hone its edge, and then we use it to cut things away, separate wheat from the chaff, and that kind of slice, cut to the chase kind of stuff. So that's sort of what's the heart of the issue. And so what I read between those three cards is that there is a lot of overthinking. We're using the wrong brain. We're stuck in that wrong brain for the wrong task. I'm not saying that thinking is a bad thing. I'm not saying that consciousness, being our conscious mind, is not a useful tool. It's not the right tool for the job that it's being applied to, which is more the intuitive piece, which is more the sovereignty piece, which is more what you were talking about, Jerry, of that balance of the lovers, of loving ourselves and caring for ourselves as well as others. It's like mothers, put your own oxygen mask on first, kind of thing. And so I see that this read that the thinking is sort of the core driving force behind it, with pentacles stuff, earthly stuff, kind of pinning it and keeping our feet pinned to the ground because we're concerned about losing our shit, right? Like, honestly, is kind of the read that I get from those cards. And that ultimately what it will sort of take, interestingly, is the Eight of Cups. Eight is an as above, so below, bringing heaven down to earth and also raising earth up to heaven. And so it also is a balancing card. And in its own way, I see it as kind of a hermit card too, Jerry, because in Eight of Cups, we're turning our back on cups, which is emotion and is relationships and is connections. And that's what has to happen with the hermit. You have to go inside. People have to go inside with the hermit. And my opinion, my take on the hermit card is to go inside, see what you find inside, and then bring that light out so you can lead with that light. And so this card is very similar to that for me. And it is turning it back on. Five of Cups is sort of a regret card where we're crying over spilt milk. Three of Cups is a beautiful celebration card of community and relationships, but I think we even need to move beyond those, the way that we formulated it, and sort kind of create everything anew. So that's the read that I got on it.
Oh, that was absolutely awesome. While you were pulling, and it was so incredibly synchronistic, is that I got this as apparently, so it's a balancing of the emotions, right? It's just the perfect balancing card. And if we do that, we will be victorious. But here's the one I got. So the advice is to, yes, be the king of your emotions. So be your own, be in charge of your own vessel. Don't allow the other little no-see-ums and the little gremlins whispering in your ear. So yeah, I love your read, Pam. That was absolutely brilliant. All right, I think I'm done here. What do you got for us now, Marcia? Are we done now?
Yeah, did you read?
I did pull cards. So what I got was the Queen of Cups, and well, the first is the Queen of Wands and the Queen of Cups, the Seven of Pentacles, the Judgment, and the Sun. So for me, looking at these cards, I feel like the queens are what it's like the program, right? Like to survive in this world, you must be a certain way. My question was, why are people not able to see what's going on, or use their voice to see to say, stop, this is enough? Why are they turning the other eye and pretending it's not? Or why can't they see it? I don't know what it is, if they're just ignoring it or if they're okay with it. So the first two cards in my read was the Queen of Wands and the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Wands is that it's a fire energy, right? And she's super exciting and she's super shiny, and she'll walk into a room and she will light it up. So it's like a program. This is what you're supposed to be. And then the Queen of Cups, like she's the compassionate mama, and it's like the acceptable roles in society, the programs, the indoctrination of who we're supposed to be within society to be accepted. That's another thing that's been coming on is I've been having a lot of conversations with people about not fitting in and being lonely, right? So I feel that that is also in line with my read for today is that if we're not these two cards, the Queen of Wands and the Queen of Cups, we won't fit in, right? And that's like a big fear. And I know a lot of us have had that. Being on this path, you know, we may think a little differently, see the world a little differently. And I know for myself, I'm very careful as to who in within my like community who I really, really open up to. Because no one really knows what I really kind of like I read tarot and I do all this stuff, right? The Seven of Pentacles. So this card to me is saying exactly what I just said. Is it worth it for me to allow people to see my magical side, my metaphysical side, or should I just toe the line and just be who I'm supposed to be, right? And then that is a judgment for everybody. This card could be like that's a judgment, a decision call for everybody. To be who they are, to show their true selves, or to be what society wants them to be. Or it could be a fear of judgment too, right? Because the fear is the basis of this whole thing. I'm scared of not fitting in. I'm scared that people will judge me. I'm scared that they might be mean to my kids, whatever. But the outcome is the Sun. So I feel that that is why people are not kind of using their voice when they see something horrible happening in the world, and you just have to look around, you just have to turn on the news, you just have to turn on some YouTube videos, you just have to feel the energy to know that there's a lot of like conflict energy around. But they're scared to stand up and say anything about it, their opinions, they're sharing. There's been so much of a cancel culture right now. There's so much of like calling people racist and homophobic when people are like, no, I don't want my kids exposed to that, right? So that is, this card is like, it's not worth it. It's not worth putting myself out there. But I feel that that is a choice for everybody. And the Sun is, I'm hoping, I don't know, I'm hoping that the Sun is shining the light. And I know that the Sun is shining the light and codes on us. But I hope that this card says that there is still hope, that people will stop being so scared of judgment, right? I know I try not to hide so much. But I pulled some clarifiers and I did get the Fool. So that makes me think that we are going into a new path where people are able to be their true authentic selves, and that will be celebrated and not smushed down. And the energies that are happening, as we all can feel them, is the Chariot. Now, I also pulled on Oracle cards and I had the moon, the full moon in Aries, which
What a surprise.
which is what we're in right now. And then the new moon in Cancer. And I don't know what the new moon is going to be in a couple weeks. Does anybody know what the new moon?
I don't.
Oh, I don't know what the new moon is going to be.
But won't it be the opposite? Like, doesn't the full, aren't they related somehow? The full and the new, aren't they like the diametrically opposed?
I'm pretty sure it's Libra. Now, don't quote me
that wrong?
But like Aries and Libra are together, right? The divine masculine, the divine feminine. Libra is super, super duper feminine, right? But I did get the new moon in Cancer as the other clarifier oracle. So Cancer is like your emotions, your family, your Cancer is also shielding up. If Cancer is the crab, right? So the crab has its shell and it goes sideways. It doesn't go straight on. So that makes a lot of sense why the full moon and in Aries and the new moon in Cancer is coming. So the full moon in Aries is trying to help us stop going sideways, right? The full moon goes forward. The new moon in Aries, the crab goes sideways and crabs up, like with its hard shell, doesn't let anyone see. I also got the disciple and the gate. And now the disciple for me it's just telling us that the reason this is all happening is because this is a school, right? Our souls came down here to do this, to shine, to be our authentic self, to not really be so concerned as to what others think, in my opinion. To walk our path, to learn what our soul wanted us to learn before we came down here. That's why we came to this earth, is to, as a school, to ascend, to become more energetically vibrant, higher. I don't know. My throat chakra is all blocked now, and the gate. So we're close to the gate. So yeah, that's to sum it up. You know, it's just we have been indoctrinated to be a certain way. We're scared to be our authentic selves, but we do have the full moon in Aries trying to tell us, like, go forward, don't go sideways and shell up like the crab, because we came here to learn. We came here to experience and to live life, and to be us, right? And it's okay to be you. It's okay to use your voice. I don't know. I think things are changing because the sun is shining on us and the codes are coming down. I can feel it in my body, mind, and soul. So that was my read, guys. What did you want to
And
add?
I love that, Marcia, because this, if you think about it, the sun is kind of the ultimate purifier, right? And where the sun shines, darkness can't really, shadow can be highly illuminated and therefore much more visible as a shadow, but also the dark can't stay. And that's what they say, the way to get rid of the dark is to shine the light. And that's the hermit too. Bring that light out from inside of ourselves.
Yeah, and Pam, the song Age of Aquarius, one of their big lyrics is let the sun shine in, let the sun shine in, baby. I love that. I love that you guys both brought that forth because, yes, purifier is exactly right.
Absolutely. So this is great read.
Yeah, and you were right. You were right, Marcia. The new moon is I think it's in tropical. It's in Libra, but sidereal. It's Virgo. It's purification and refinement. It says that Virgo's frequency wants us to clean up our system, body, mind, environment, so that new energy can anchor. The new moon is going to be acting as a frequency tune-up to help us realign our nervous system and clear up the psychic noise. Is what it's saying. So yeah, that's great.
Can you read on the Libra part? So everybody, what our meditations are aligned with is the tropical astrology system. We do have a Vedic astrologer, which is why Jerry has 2 new moons. In Vedic, it's in Virgo. The new moon is in Virgo. But in tropical, it's in Libra. All our meditations are aligned with Libra. And it just, for me, is just whatever you most connect with, right? So do you have full moon or new moon in Libra information?
Let's see here. In Libra, a sign of harmony, justice, and connection. This new moon calls for resetting relationships, partnerships, and a personal sense of equilibrium, which is exactly what we were just talking about. And you're invited to drop the energetic contracts that keep you imbalanced. So it's all about releasing as well. So we're constantly releasing. Oh, and maybe since we're on the topic of releasement, That's really actually where we specialize in. If you're getting hold of us, is helping one release, because whatever garbage gets stuck inside you will contaminate, and it will fester, and it will cause emotional problems, physical problems as well. So this is a time for purification, to allow the sun to shine in. So we have to get out of resistance. Anybody else want to add to that? Is anybody feeling anything intuitive? They want to continue with that, what I just was saying there?
I just think that all of that reflects the same thing, which is that, we are the operant powers in our lives. And so the more we appreciate that fact and access that fact, at the same time honoring, it's really a matter in a way of honoring both our humanity and our divinity, and finding a way to get those all kind of integrated together as best we can. But all roads sort of lead to Rome in a sense, when we're at least walking on that path. So yeah, it's I think people who are leaning towards waking up, and I do think that I said to somebody the other day, I think it was Kennedy, who said, a rising tide raises all boats. And so even as a few of us rise, it raises more, and it creates space for more to rise, because we're all kind of coming up. And so even doing our own little bits without having to involve ourselves in other places, just doing our own bits for ourselves, to treat ourselves with dignity and respect and appreciation, and our worlds with gratitude. And Virgo for me is the Virgo separating the wheat from the chaff. She's the fall in North America, or in many
Wow.
places, right? So she's got
Wow.
that grain, and she's separating it out. And that's kind of what you were saying. And that's what we're being called to do now, is decide, just really start shifting our attention to away from toward what really works for us individually, personally, in a way. So it's a weird combination of being individual at the same time that we're united. Right?
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Have you guys ever heard of I think it's called The Abundance Book, and it's a little book written by a guy with a triple barrel name. I can't remember what it is, but it's a meditation. There are 10 meditations, and you repeat each one 4 times over a period of 40 days. And the very first one talks about God being abundant, lavish abundance, all providing source. And then it goes on to say, and that source is individualized as me, the reality of me. Right? And
That's
so
beautiful.
that's the power of each of our influence. We're all threads of the divine in our way. And that's the looking towards honoring that the sun helps us illuminate, in my opinion. So
Are you saying that we're God, Pam?
I am not saying we are the God.
How can you?
I'm not saying we are the God, but I am saying we are an expression of God. And the Bible's very clear about that. And Jesus is very clear about that.
Yeah.
And my phone is going off, so yes. That is
we were
very
do-
clear. I'm getting
we
the
were
ding
doing-
ding from my phone, which I consider to be affirmation.
Yeah, we were doing so good, Pam. We were doing so good, right? Yeah. Well, that comes with a lot of responsibility, does it not? If you start realizing that you have all this power.
100%. That's be the operant power. And when the Bible says we are created in the image of God, it's important that we recognize that God was not created in our image, although we have done that.
Oh,
Much of our processes have done that.
was God maybe? Maybe God was. Maybe we can just give the power over to some of our leaders, because they seem to know what's best for us. Doesn't that work?
That's the authority issue. If anybody reads A Course in Miracles, that's the authority issue. Absolutely. Is who is the author? Who is the authority in our lives? And really, and in Course in Miracles, it's instructing that we've misplaced that. And if you read the scriptures, you can see, and you read it from a certain perspective, and you bring your own knowledge and intuition and experience to it. It starts to illuminate, really,
Yeah,
that are in there. Yeah.
I just had Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne voice come in my head, War Pigs coming in, just that whole music was coming in just as we were talking about that. It's really quite amazing if you look at like every single, I don't say every, I don't want to just, but it's just, there's so many times that we've been duped into fighting each other through religious
Yes.
beliefs that it's only one way to God, and that's this way. And if you don't believe the same, and in the name of this, in the name of that, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Like man, we've fallen for that so many times. I'm glad that we're finally getting out of that. And so maybe I should just add this. I'm not sure when Marcia's going to cut us off here, but the beautiful thing that's happening as well, and I think that's really a big reason why children are being, let's say, dumbed down, lowered their frequency through all kinds of toxins, is because a lot of them are carrying that extra, 12-strand DNA. So they're very much already attuned to the higher realms of consciousness, and they automatically don't want to fight each other. They want unity. They want, so really honor the children right now is a big one too, eh?
Yeah, there's a wonderful video from a woman, a teacher from I'm going to say it was recorded in the 60s. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but she was like, it was grade 4 or grade 3 or something like that. And she did an exercise with the class where she separated the class into eye colors. And they had two different eyes. They either had dark, like brown eyes, or they had blue eyes. I think that's how she separated them. And then for a week, the brown-eyed children were treated better and were to consider themselves better and operate like that. And then the next week, the blue-eyed children got that position. And the learning for the kids of that divisiveness, and I think she was requiring them to be mean to each other, requiring them to be. We should post that actually on the website. That would be a great video to include as a resource on the website, Marcy. I'll find it and I'll get it to you. It's pretty well known, and it illustrates exactly your point, Jerry. That when we're younger, it's just our nature to be inclusive, to have unity, to be in love and connected. Provided that we've in a safe environment, we've been raised in a safe environment, and we can even access that much. And I'm not sure. I think deep trauma can impact that piece. But most people, that's a natural thing for children to be there, and then slowly that gets cultivated out of us. It gets groomed out of us, really, by the system that we're.
Yeah, I mean, it's so amazing to me when you see like adults, our age that are still in that polarity, in a deep polarity where they feel victimized by another culture, or they feel that it's this country's fault, it's, Russia's fault, it's this, it's just like, I don't know. I mean, you think that at a certain age you develop the wisdom to see those differences, but I guess it just must be the fear inside them. They don't want to, disagree with their, or maybe it's just because they're just programmed so much. So maybe the best advice is to turn the TV off, get outside, go walk barefoot, and maybe it's like honestly, when I first started, it wasn't that exciting, but now, when you develop we're going to use that word again, Pam and Marcia, rapport with the earth, you long for that connection, because there's that subtle body of ours is so in tune with that frequency, and really, man, I could just talk about this all day and all night, but I don't want to bore people too much with the details. But really look to the natural self, the natural ways, the natural herb medicine. So I think that's all I have to say for today. I'll let Marcia decide where she wants to go from here. But those are my final words of advice for people is to just get out in the sun. That was a beautiful theme for today.
Yeah, we're gonna post a video. It was actually playing in my mind yesterday because of all the energies that were coming in that I spoke about a little earlier. We talk a lot on this channel about releasing and coming to your own and stuck traumas and that. And I just wanted to maybe do a video today on how we can balance that energy. We've got so many different ways to do it, but just keeping it simple for the video of today. We're going to go through some breath work. We're going to go through some Tai Chi. We're going to go through some mudras and other little very simple tips and tricks to help with all these energies coming in and to balance them, to ground them, and if you want to use them as well. And transform them into creativity, which I think that's what it's for, right? Really, honestly, it's to light that fire under our butts and to just get our solar plexus going, right? And later on, Jerry's talking about some releasing. So we're going to be also touching on that through some future videos on very easy techniques to how to get to those stuck traumas and how to get yourself back to your divine blueprint. Because what Pam was saying, it is true. I mean, I see it in my kids. They feel such strong joy, like such strong joy. And their joy is so loud and so powerful. And because we, as me, as an adult, have been told as a child to be quiet, to be seen and not heard, don't be too loud, don't daydream. So as they're experiencing their joy with this knowledge, I do my release techniques and allow them to feel joy because I know my anxiety is from my past trauma, right? And so I'll sit there and I'll just breathe and I'll do my modalities and I'll release whatever's coming up, because that's an opportunity for me to get into my past trauma that balanced and away. So yeah, thank you so much for coming. This little bit. If you did like what we had to share today, please follow, like, subscribe, click the bell button, and stay tuned for more. I'm just gonna stop it.
Bye.
Pam, did you have anything to say?
No.
No?
Just bye. Thanks for coming.
Okay, bye everyone.